I really think that we're onto something. So I wanted to use this episode to recap that experience as well as give you some information as to why you might want to consider doing this for your brand, and just the impact that it's had and the momentum that it's given, not only Allie with Galavant Society, but what it gave Falk, Ruvin, Gallagher, the real estate team, when we encouraged them to do the same last year. Kiss my aesthetics, branding, marketing, entrepreneurship. Greetings and welcome back to the Kiss My Aesthetic podcast. This episode is so exciting for me to record, and I haven't done a solo episode in a minute, so bear with me as I remember to learn how to do this. This episode is fresh off the heels of the Gallagher Society launch party. And this now marks the second time that my team has walked a client through a rebrand unveiling in a physical sense. So I want to kind of start off with rebranding. Of course, this is our bread and butter. Rebranding is the thing that our team does better than anything else that we have to offer, in my opinion. And really, rebranding becomes a major milestone for these businesses. It is a hefty investment. It is a lot of time. It's a lot of deep dive. It's a lot of sticky, icky work into figuring out who you are, what you do, and who you help, the way that we start every single podcast episode. But really, it's more than just the logo, of course. So if you're listening to this podcast, if you're a longtime listener, you know that branding is so much more than just getting new logo artwork, but it's also the entire visual identity of your company, of your work. So when we think about that and we think about how much work goes into the rebranding, we want to make sure that we're making that moment stick. And what I noticed with clients up until now is that we spend all this time and effort and energy on the rebranding, and then we hand everything over. And what happens is they're like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do now. Like, how the heck am I supposed to let people know all of this information and really kind of bring this brand into the world? So what we're going to do in this episode is get into that, right? We're going to give you a framework and also a checklist, hopefully a brainstorm about how you can really make a moment out of this milestone and not just throw up an Instagram post and switch over the colors on your website and call it a day. The reason this matters so much is that a rebrand is really an emotional and visual reset for your audience. A rebrand gives you the opportunity to really say, like, hey, we took inventory of everything that's going well, and now we finally have a look to match. A lot of what we do when our team is approaching a rebrand process is really dig in to make sure that that mission and vision is coming to the forefront. And I actually had a discovery call earlier today with another company in the same industry, and they asked the question, like, well, how do we make sure that you're not doing the same thing for everyone? Which is a totally valid question, right? And where our good branding comes into play is that we're doing all of that research, deep research into your brand, deep research into what you do well, deep research into your reviews, your testimonials, your services, and trying to figure out, with all the competitors that exist out there, what's the thing that makes you special and what's the thing that creates those lasting memory anchors for someone who is not only a client but a repeat client. Additionally, a rebrand is a time for fresh energy. People want to be a part of something more now than ever. And I think with how much AI is impeding our ability to discern real from fake, I think that an in-person event and a celebration of your top customers and your top contributors to your business, be that your team members, your agents, etc., having that as a hallmark moment makes so much sense. I wanted to pull some statistics for you from my research as well about this emotional connection point, because this is really the foundation that we're going to build this brand reveal, brand party out of. So 76% of consumers are more likely to buy from brands that they feel emotionally connected to. That's the first one right off the top. Another statistic to consider here is that emotional brand storytelling can deliver a 96% increase in your conversion rate, while customers with emotional ties have a 3 times higher lifetime value. This is not surprising, right? If you think about the brands that really, truly impact you and that you remember more than anything, there is that kind of magnetism to wanting to tell people about it. This is our brag-worthy experience, right? So this is what our team is always striving for, is how do you create something that people will talk about regardless of what room that they are in, because they had such a good experience or they had such a good outcome from your product or service. When we bring that into real life, 85% of consumers are more likely to buy after participating in events or branded experiences. This is huge. 70% of event attendees also become repeat customers. So, for how much all of our businesses rely on the virtual, on the online, on the social media to start to bring that experience to the physical, does lead to more conversions. So again, that's 85% of consumers more likely to buy after participating in an event, and 70% of event attendees becoming repeat customers. So in the instance of Galavant Society, obviously, this is a celebration of their travel program and also a branch into their private travel services. So having this event to really let people in on that and connect people who'd been on past trips with people from other past trips. Again, you're creating that emotional connection. You're pulling people together. You're having them share their experiences in real time. This is huge. Lastly, brand trust and recognition. 81% of consumers need to trust a brand before they buy from it. And 50% of those consumers are more likely to purchase from brands that they recognize. Remember, I say this all the time on the podcast, people have to be exposed to the same marketing message a minimum of 17 different times. And that's not just 17 Instagram posts, that's 17 different touch points. It might be your website, it might be word of mouth, it might be print, it might be merch, it might be something else. But that combination of 17 different touch points is what's actually going to drive someone to take action on your marketing message. Additionally, brand consistency across your visuals and messaging overall can help boost your revenue by up to 33%. A huge case study in this department is Falk, Ruvin, Gallagher and their rebrand. This year in 2025, they are having their highest sales year to date. They are now the number one top producing real estate group in the state of Wisconsin, which is huge. I won't say that the branding is 100% credit for that, but it definitely helps, right? It definitely helps to have consistent branding and a consistent brand look and feel. The other thing to think about when it's coming to like a brand reveal or brand launch after you've invested all this money in your rebranding is that you can really be strategic about how you unveil this project. So I'm always working with brands to get through the branding as phase one. And what we've added on as a team is the launch aspect as phase two. So, what we mean by launch is how you actually get all those branding assets, your logos, your fonts, your colors, your patterns, your icons, how those actually get realized as part of the brand. So, the categories that we'll most often cover are digital, print, social, and merch slash packaging. So digital, we're thinking email signatures, websites, etc. Print, business cards, letterhead, internal documents, external documents, postcards, mailers, thank you cards. Social, how your social media profiles start to change over, your profiles, your bios, your highlights, your descriptions, etc., as well as your content. And then for merch and packaging, how that brand gets realized. So, again, in the instance of brand party, brand unveiling, my recommendation has been for both FRG and now Galavant Society, what physical things can you give to the people that you invite that then represent the brand and how it moves forward? So the first example I'll give is with Falk, Ruvin, Gallagher Real Estate. They were very apprehensive about making any type of post that felt like surprise coming, new logo coming, like ta-da, don't we look fabulous? They had a very strong allergy to that type of content because their fear was that it would come off as braggadocious or self-congratulatory. So my recommendation was, can we do this as an internal thing, but capture it on photo video and use the photo video to recap the rebrand? So essentially what they did is right around January, they had an agent celebration event where they had all of their agents and all of the officers that work in their office, and they had a really beautiful curated dinner. And at this curated dinner, at each place setting, there was a gift box. And in the gift box, we had stickers, we had their new business cards, letterhead, matchbook, playing cards, and I believe there was a candle in there as well. And this whole little gift set was to symbolize, here's our new era, essentially, right? So here is our team showing up in a more professional, more consistent capacity, and to celebrate the rebrand as a way of gifting it to the people that are on the team and making the team feel proud of how that then moves forward. The goal with that, instead of just having the party and like not doing anything about it, was to capture it with photo and video and to really show the authentic reactions of each person on the team, like looking at their new business cards for the first time, seeing their new letterhead, like messing with the ribbon and the matchbooks and the hats and the stickers that we created on behalf of the brand. And what this did is it gave us a huge backlog of content, and it gave us kind of something to share on social media that felt more documentary than promotional. And that worked really, really well for the values of that brand, right? Is to really say the message was the rebrand is a way to reflect to their audience who they really are. So a lot of the messaging was thanks to our community for showing us who we are, and now we have a look to match. And a lot of that rebrand was based in history and heritage and legacy and texture and depth to really symbolize the amount of time that they have been experts in the Milwaukee area. So that's an example of one type of way to do a brand unveiling. On the Galavant Society side, we threw a freaking party. So on that instance, because their team is smaller, they wanted to use the rebranding unveiling experience as a way to celebrate their top clients. So we created a launch party weekend in Chicago where they invited out about 25 of their like favorite clients, past clients, people who've come on their trips before, and invited them to this party. And we really upped the ante. And thank goodness, because Allie meets me there on the theme every time. But Allie famously never wants to get married. So the joke on social media and all of the promo was that she's finally changing her name. Right? I can't believe this. I'm finally changing my name. I'm going to throw one of those parties. I've kept this a huge secret. This is a new chapter for me, and really kind of play on this kind of hokier, kind of say yes to the dress style promo as to kind of throw people off the scent of it being a rebrand. Obviously, if you follow me, you knew that it was a rebrand. But what we did with that is almost treated it as if there was a micro wedding. So we picked a venue, we had florals, there were giveaway bags, there were different activations, and it gave an opportunity to really kind of bookmark that rebrand with a very like concrete, this is us moving forward kind of feeling. So in order to pull that off, we have to kind of, again, go back towards strategy. So we need to clarify the event goal. We need to infuse the brand elements, create photo worthy moments and interactive touch points, and kind of create that partnership with the aligned creators that are going to help bring that to life. So that looked like, okay, event goal, rebrand, announce the rebrand. Secondly, infuse the brand elements. We needed signage. We needed napkins, we needed coasters, we needed the little drink stirs, and then we did for each person a almost like a PR box package with a branded canvas tote, and then the interior a box, and inside of the box there was a notebook, a bucket hat, silk scarf, eye mask, stickers, and other things. Cookies, that's what it was, branded cookies. And the point of this was that at some point during the party, all the people that were there were going to be instructed to grab the gift bag of your choice. And we did basically like a group unboxing and announced what every single element of that gift box was. And what we were able to capture on photo and video, again, was that like organic, realistic interaction of the ideal customer with the brand. Okay, entrepreneurs, this one is for you. You know I'm all about making your brand work for you, and this is where Sticker Giant comes in. They get it. Whether you're a small business, a creative freelancer, or someone just starting out, Sticker Giant wants to help you tell your stories with custom stickers and labels. They really make your products look pro, your packaging pop, and your brand stick in people's minds, literally. So if you're ready to take your brand to the next level, visit stickergiant.com and become part of the KMA community by using code KMA Podcast 25 at checkout on stickergiant.com to get 25% off your first order. See how they can help you bring your ideas to life. You definitely won't regret it. Sticker Giant, your partner in creating brag-worthy branding. So instead of just a post of the logo, ta-da, we have a new logo. Maybe some people share it. Maybe some people comment. We have documented kind of like the moment, the like birth, the rebirth of this brand, and got to explain like the logo and the styles and the colors and what they meant in real time. And it was so impactful. And it was not only so impactful, but like so fun to see people immediately embrace the brand and like get excited about the elements and get excited about where the whole company, the direction of the company was going. For event formats, you can think about this in a few different ways. I really recommend either that team only celebration or opening it to more of a like VIP event. I think also in this age of AI, it's really easy to just kind of go that route and not like and to spare yourself the expense of throwing the party, but the impact that we got not only from people seeing the branding and getting all the photo and video in person was that we were able to really solidify the community part of it. Like to see people interact with each other from different walks of life, different trips, different places. This was a really great way to get those clips. Like I remember standing there and getting the clips, for example, of like Allie hugging people as they were walking in. Like, oh, I'm so glad you're here. You should meet so and so. And like the connections that happened and occurred because all of these people were in the same room. And again, another manifestation of the brand. One of the things that we did that I think was particularly smart was we enforced like a dress code. So we said that the dress code was to upstage Allie. If you've seen the weddings on like TikTok and stuff where people are saying like, oh, category is upstage the bride, same idea. So people dressed in their most fabulous colors and everyone came dressed to perfection. We also created those photo worthy moments. So we were thinking of how we could encourage people to naturally want to take photos and videos of things. So, for example, like the napkins, the coasters, the drink stirrers, all being branded, like lent themselves to a really natural photo moment. And then we did have kind of like a photo op luggage cart situation. So we had these really beautiful florals stacked into all these suitcases with the luggage tags that were branded. And that was kind of the showpiece at the center of the venue for people to take photos. And because we had a photographer there, we had some really beautiful portraits of everyone that came through, kind of not dissimilar to a wedding. We also had two different event activations. Allie hired a permanent jewelry installation opportunity where everyone could get the friendship bracelets where they like, I'm wearing mine now. If you're watching on video, they would like zap them onto you. So that's kind of a fun way to kind of connect to the brand. And then we did what I'm calling like a snail mail station. So my recommendation, as it was a travel brand, was to get a whole bunch of travel postcards and encourage people to write postcards to friends or family that they want to go on a trip with. So it was a fun way to connect the mission and the vision of the brand with an activation that actually was like a pay it forward type thing. And what we did is created branded stamps so we could like stamp the logo onto the postcards in kind of this like rubber stamp style, which worked really well. Then the whole party comes to a close. People are excited. What we did specifically with this party is we told all of the attendees to really just show up and enjoy, and that any content that they captured should actually be shared on the official launch day. So I would recommend that as well. So even if you are having this kind of moment, this party, set the guidelines and let your people know what the expectations are for sharing it on social media. So if you're going to have a professional videographer, are you sharing them the photos and videos? If you want them to be mentioning in stories, how do you want them to phrase it? How do you want them to tell their audience that they were a part of this thing? And I think now more than ever, when everyone has access to everything all the time, what's going to become increasingly popular is creating events that not everyone can access. And I think that there's something to that. I think there's an exclusivity, there's a desirability to be a part of something that not everyone gets to have. And not in a malicious way or like an exclusionary way to be like aggressive, but in more of a you put in the sweat equity, you gave the feedback, you went on those early trips when there were bumps and lumps and they weren't so smooth, or you worked with this real estate group before they had their shit together and look at them now kind of feeling. I think to reward those early adopters, those early brand fans, and celebrate them in this type of way is a great way to bring that brand full circle. So now we're post-party and we're getting into this like post-party momentum of repurposing all that great event content. So we've got all these photos and videos, we have thank yous for the attendees, and now we're starting to track the ROI, the leads, the press, and the sales that are coming as a result of that effort. So again, instead of just getting your branding, posting it, ta-da, we have new branding, the end, and it gets kind of lost in the shuffle, we are quite literally, Allie and I, this week, flooding the zone with the content from that brand reveal party. And also, it's great to be able to share, and it's impressive from an outsider's perspective to see just like the volume and the thought and the details that go into something like this that weren't ever shared. Like no sneak peek part of it was even really shared on social media, right? And that there's so much that can happen behind the scenes for a brand, and then to bring it all to fruition in this like colorful content overload is really, really satisfying. So, all that being said, I rest my case for why your rebrand you should consider as a moment, as a milestone, and as honestly a party to usher in your new era of your business. Brands deserve to be celebrated. I believe that. And I really think that anyone who's making that hefty investment and doing all the hard work and seeing how your brand vision is coming to life, why not share that with the people that are closest to your business? So that's my pitch. If you're a new client of ours or prospective client of ours and you need our help with stuff like this, please don't hesitate to reach out, mkwcreative.co. We love this kind of stuff. Everything from designing the merch to the signage to helping you pick the venue and set the mood board and send the invitations, come up with SOPs. That is our jam. So please let us know if you're looking for help. And I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please don't forget to send it to a friend, save it, share it, post it. We would appreciate all of that. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube because we are on YouTube as well. And we'll catch you next time. Bye.